It's Pastor Marty from the Afternoon Drive. Well, we have Jussie Smollett, who's been let off the hook. I know I said I wasn't going to do another Jussie Smollett video, but you know, it's kind of like The Godfather. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Rahm Emanuel, the alleged mayor of the city of Chicago, was he serious the other day when he felt this was a whitewashing of justice, that there was absolutely no reason that the charges against Jussie Smollett should be dropped, and he was outraged at the state's attorney for doing so, and that Jussie needed to be held accountable, and it was a smear on the work of the Chicago police? I mean, he stood there visibly, I thought, angry about it. Angry that on 16 felony counts, Jussie gets to walk. And now Jussie's actually saying he's going to sue the city. He wants his money back and an apology from the city. Yet the city's prosecutors are saying he's not innocent. He's guilty. But it has been taken out of their hands to be able to prosecute him. So what does President Trump do? He says, I'm going to turn this over to the Department of Justice to have the FBI look into it. And Rahm Emanuel comes out and says, Mr. President, go to the opening day of baseball, throw out the first pitch, and then sit on the sidelines and stay out of Chicago. He's actually declared Chicago a Trump-free zone. Oh, okay. And that it's President Trump, get this, who's created a toxic environment which led to Jussie Smollett thinking he could fake this hate crime and get away with it. So in other words, Rahm Emanuel is saying it's Trump's fault. Now, he's trying to walk both sides of the issue. He's still saying, yes, he believes that Smollett is guilty, that Smollett did actually fake this crime. It's a total hoax. But he wouldn't have been pressured to do it. He wouldn't have felt the Trump derangement syndrome if Trump hadn't been president. I mean, this is beyond the pale. It really is. Not surprising, but beyond the pale. And with the crime problem that Chicago has, and the fact that the mayor, and even, I'm sorry, the police superintendent seem to be absolutely impotent to deal with. The president's within his rights. If he wanted to, he could send the army in there and say, you know what, we got to get this city under control, because this is ridiculous. Every night, young people are losing their lives on the streets of Chicago. And not a couple, but it's dozens at a time. And each weekend, it seems like the city of Chicago leads the nation in murder. Isn't that a great thing? Wow, what an amazing job you're doing there, Rahm. The sick ticket thing about this is, if Barack Obama still was parking his backside in the Oval Office, you'd want his help immediately, no matter what. I think we all know that Chicago would be burning to the ground right now if two white dudes had actually assailed Jussie Smollett. In fact, his attorney, she actually said on one of the morning talk shows yesterday that if you Google, you can find a picture of one of these two Nigerians that, you know, did the deed in whiteface, trying to be the Joker from Batman. So, you know, Jussie saying that two white guys jumped him, maybe they were wearing whiteface when they did it. And maybe cows fly, and maybe Sunday will come in the middle of the week, and maybe there's somebody on the planet that thinks AOC, the artist formerly known as HIV, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, stands a snowball's chance in Hades of getting the full Green Deal passed, and we'll be rid of gasoline cars, jet planes, and farting cows. The toxic culture we have is not Donald Trump's fault. The toxic culture we have is a carryover from Barack Obama. Barack Obama played one of the most vile political head games there was. Divide and not conquer, just keep dividing. Let no one ever really get unified or calm down. Just keep the people divided, and then just keep steamrolling over them. All of this nastiness started with Barack Obama. Now, when Trump got into the campaign, was he hard on his Republican contenders? Yes. Was he hard on Hillary Rodham Clinton? Yes. Has he been nasty to the American people? No. No. He has put into place programs and legislation which have done wonders for the economy. In the minority communities, lowest unemployment ever. 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 And this president, because he gets no media coverage on this, with his administration, has done more to improve the life of inner city America, can we just say black America, than any other president. And you can look here on YouTube, there are hundreds of black commentators talking about the fact that Donald Trump has done far more for the black community than Barack Obama ever dreamed of doing and even bragged of doing. But it's Trump's fault. Jussie Smollett mailing fake anthrax to himself, Jussie Smollett hiring two dudes to beat him up, say it's MAGA country, pour Clorox on him and a noose around him, did all that because of Trump derangement syndrome. This is it. So now, thank you, Mr. Mayor, because now we're going to have a bunch of copycat crapola. And these people are what? All going to be let off the hook because it's Trump. It's Trump. Who is it that took to the streets? Who is it that burns things down? Who is it that riots and threatens and basically says that until Trump is gone, there will be civil unrest in this country? The Democrats. The Democrats. I love how they're constantly referring to Donald Trump as Hitler. You know, there's some great documentary series on right now on several cable channels and even on Netflix regarding the rise and fall of Adolf Hitler, his idealism, Nazism. And the more I watch those, the more I am reminded of the Democrats. Now, they love to compare Trump to Hitler, but let's get a couple things straight. Hitler believed in mass genocide. Goodbye Jews, goodbye homosexuals, goodbye gypsies, goodbye people with sickness and infirmity and deformity. Gee, we might call that the Democrats with their post-birth abortion. We might call that the Democrats with Obamacare. And you know what? Grandpa's just way too old to invest this kind of money in any type of serious medical treatment. If you vote for the Democrats this election cycle with all of the far-left loon socialism they are proposing, you do understand we're going to have to apologize to the Nazis. I mean, Joseph Mengele never thought of doing some of the things that the Democrats are actually proposing and saying it's your constitutional right. Think about that. And Rahm Emanuel, I hope they burn your city to the ground. That's sad, because I love Chicago. I lived and worked in Chicago. Love the city. But apparently, the people in power are never going to actually bring in or allow in the people that have the real solution. So you know what? You want to be a Trump-free zone? As far as I am concerned, you ought to be an American tax dollar-free zone. And if you have, heaven forbid though, but if you have a natural disaster or a crisis, what? Should the president just say, no, No emergency relief for Chicago. They don't want me. It's a Trump-free zone. Then they don't want my help either. But you know, the president wouldn't do that. If Chicago suffered an earthquake, the president would rally the resources and the help and the money that would be needed to rebuild the city and take care of the victims. But Rahm doesn't want him there because Trump creates toxicity. No, you do. The left does. This is a leftist problem. This is why they can't let go of the Mueller report. And now you see their venom spewing on Capitol Hill with Adam Schiff for brains, who looks like an escapee from Whoville in a Dr. Seuss story. This is just vile. It's reprehensible. It's disgusting. And it's the left that are violent. And it's those of us on the right that have to fear for our lives when we go out in public and might happen to wear some article of clothing that shows some amount of support for our president. You don't see the right doing that to the left. That is my rant for today. Hey, subscribe to the channel, please. Share it with other people so they find out about it, and hit the bell so you get my next rant.